yesterday scheduled over 800 hangings. They didn't hang anyone, they canceled the hangings. That had a big impact.
Hardline Iranian cleric Ahmad Khatami issued a direct threat to US President Donald Trump on January 16 during a Friday sermon. Referring pointedly to Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Khatami declared that Americans and Zionists should not expect peace under any circumstances. Continuing his message, Khatami warned that they should wait for hard revenge from the system, emphasizing that Iran's leadership intends to retaliate for perceived hostilities. During the sermon, the cleric described anti-government protesters as Trump soldiers and butlers of Netanyahu. He further alleged that the demonstrators, whom he linked to foreign intelligence efforts, imagined disintegrating the country by spreading unrest and chaos across major Iranian cities. Khatami also called for imposing the death penalty on protesters currently detained across the nation, describing their actions as betrayal against the state. His remarks prompted chants from the assembled crowd, shouting armed hypocrites should be put to death, echoing his call for the harshest punishment for those involved in the demonstrations. According to multiple regional media outlets, this marked Iran's third high-level threat directed at Donald Trump in just 2 consecutive days. A day earlier, on January 15, a senior Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps general declared publicly that we will cut off Trump's hand and finger. The same general cautioned that Iran would no longer accept any ceasefire terms if the country were to come under military attack from the United States or its allies. Prior to these statements, Iranian state television had broadcast an image showing Trump injured at one of his 2024 campaign rallies, a graphic that quickly drew widespread attention. The picture originated from Trump's Butler, Pennsylvania rally, where he had been grazed by a bullet in the ear during an attempted assassination in July 2024. Reports said the broadcast image was accompanied by a caption reading, "This time it will not miss the target." The incident raised alarm amid reports about Iran's efforts to advance long-range missile capabilities that could extend beyond the Middle East. In October, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claimed that Iran was actively developing missiles capable of reaching the United States, a statement that revived global concern. Netanyahu said Iranian engineers were already producing missiles with an 8,000-kilometer range, far exceeding most regional defense boundaries. He warned that if Iran were to increase that range by an estimated 3,000 kilometers, its missiles could reach US shores. Meanwhile, on January 16, President Donald Trump publicly thanked the Iranian government for not carrying out mass executions, claiming that Tehran had shown restraint. Trump told reporters that Iran cancelled the hanging of over 800 people, praising the move as evidence that diplomatic pressure had been effective.
You urged protesters in Iran earlier this week to keep fighting in the streets and said that help was on the way. Is help still on the way, or has your bar
Well, we're going to see. As you know, Iran canceled the hanging of over 800 people. They were going to hang over 800 people yesterday, and I greatly respect the fact that they canceled them.
Did Arab and Israeli officials convince you to not strike Iran?
Nobody convinced me. I convinced myself. You had yesterday scheduled over 800 hangings. They didn't hang anyone, they canceled the hangings. That had a big impact.
This statement came just days after Trump had warned Iran of potential US strikes if it proceeded with executing protesters detained during the unrest. Earlier, Trump had openly voiced support for the Iranian demonstrations, stating that help is on the way, aligning US rhetoric with the goals of anti-regime protesters. Around the same time, the US military repositioned some forces by pulling troops from key bases in the Middle East, a move widely interpreted as signaling readiness for possible operations against Iran. In reply, Iranian officials threatened to launch retaliatory strikes on American military bases throughout the Middle East if any US military action were initiated. Despite his earlier warnings, Trump appeared to soften his tone, saying during a press briefing that killing in Iran has stopped, suggesting a pause in executions and violence. When asked directly whether Israel had advised him to delay strikes on Iran, Trump responded by saying, "Nobody convinced me." According to independent reports and human rights groups, over 2,500 people have been confirmed killed in the nationwide Iranian protests since December 28. The demonstrations were initially triggered by rampant inflation and the severe collapse of the Iranian rial against the US dollar, which has crippled living standards across the country.
25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.
पच्चीस करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.